Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm joined by Al Ryan and Vincent LaRussa, and they're going to talk all about recording their Kiss cover CD under the band name The Hooligans. This conversation was a lot of fun, so much great Kiss conversation that I know you guys are going to really enjoy. So let's jump in and let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today, I'm excited to have with me two prestigious guests, members of the Hooligans. You know my buddy Vincent, but please welcome also Al. How are you guys doing today?
Good, Mike. How are you? Thank you.
Doing great. I'm excited for this. I know we've been talking about doing this for, it feels like an eternity, so I'm glad that it's finally happened.
I was going to say, you don't know how relieved. I don't have to say it is coming out soon. It is coming out. If I got a nickel for every time I said it, I'd be $2 richer.
I was going to say I'd be retired.
Oh, come on now.
Oh man.
It just goes to show you how much care we put in. Well, I put it. I can't blame Al on this. Most of the delay was on me. You know. So
I can vouch for that. Al, I'm going to vouch for you there.
Truth be said, and I know we'll launch into it. You know how many times Al said, "You sure that's good? You sure I don't need to do that over?"
Again, Vin is not completely right.
Yeah, how many times I had to kick you out and say, "Al, come on,"
you have to reel me back in. No, let's do it again. No, So it only took us 4 years.
Yeah, we'll get into that, but it's kind of crazy, right? Wow, 4 years. Even I didn't realize it was that long.
Well, no, I don't know if it was technically 4 years. I mean, it was 4 years when Vin and I actually started talking. So I don't know when it actually started, but
Al's 4 years.
All right, it was 4 years. I'm trying to smooth it over. It was 4 years. Okay. Anyway.
Well, obviously Vin's been on my show dozens and dozens and dozens of times. People know who he is, but there might be some people watching here for the first time or long-time watchers saying, "Who's this third guy, Al Ryan? Who is he?" So, Al, obviously the two of you guys make up the Hooligans. But before we talk about the CD and all of that, why don't you just share with everybody on the show, when did you first even become a Kiss fan?
I became a Kiss fan. I'll probably show my age here. Back in
Don't worry, we're all the same company.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm going to be 60 soon.
Really?
Huh. Like the 24th of October. So
I'm jealous, and you have more hair than me. But
I believe it was either 1976 and 1977. What year did Destroyer come out? Was that 76?
March of 76.
Yeah.
Oh, no, March of 75. Sorry, March of 75.
No, so it was probably
6. Sorry.
Yeah, it was in 76 because Destroyer had come out, and I had heard it. Friend of mine had it, and then my cousin turned me on to Kiss Alive, which I really liked. And then from that point on, it was just this is awesome. I was always into the superhero comic book thing, and I was starting to get into music, and this brought it all together. So from the very beginning, I was very taken with the makeup and the show, and just the tunes were great. And and I was at that time probably 11 years old when it started.
Right.
And I think I saw them for the first time I think it was in 1979 on the Dynasty tour in Madison Square Garden. I still have the ticket stub somewhere. It's $12.50.
Do you have the one that's like the platinum plated?
Yeah, the platinum plated. I sat in the orange seats at the Garden. It had the silver and orange.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
You both at the same show?
I think mine was July 24th or 5th.
Mine was 25th. I have July 25th.
I think mine was the 25th.
I actually have some photos that I took of Gene Simmons, with the old Kodak disposable cameras.
Yeah. Don't tell him that. He's gonna want those photos.
I definitely have it, man.
Oh, that would be awesome.
But it was very, very cool. So I've been a very, very long time Kiss fan. And yeah, it's been great all these years.
Well, that's so I'm learning things here. You and I went to the same first Kiss show together.
Isn't that
Now,
wild? Yeah, go
that is
figure.
crazy, right? Now, was Destroyer then your first Kiss album?
The first Kiss album I bought was Destroyer, actually.
Oh,
I bought
wow.
Destroyer. Then then I went and started buying all of them.
Right.
Up to that point, I had bought Kiss Alive, the first three albums, and then I know shortly thereafter, Love Gun came out.
Right.
But yeah, and that was in the day when you couldn't wait. Like the albums would come out on Tuesday, and they had all the great packaging. It was
Mhm.
so cool, and so much of that is lost now with
Oh, absolutely.
streaming and everything. But yeah, but it was a good time to grow up for
So the
sure.
first three records, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, Just to Kill, did you get them individually or did you get them as the originals?
I'm trying to remember what year did the originals come out? Because I know I had the originals.
I believe that was late 76. If I,
Yeah, I think I did get
yeah,
the originals
that's
first,
me too.
actually,
Me
and
too.
then bought then went back and bought the original albums later on.
Right.
But I did have the original package. Yeah,
Yep.
in the pack, the
That's
packaging.
exactly what I did. Now you said the first time you saw them in concert was 79 Dynasty tour. Did you stay with them through the makeup years or did you kind of slide away from them and get into other
Yeah,
bands?
I mean, I kind of, I did stick with it. I kind of lost a little bit of it, a little like I was into it, maybe towards the mid 80s. I kind of drifted a little bit,
Mhm.
but then came back in the late 80s and then pretty much throughout then. I drifted a little bit, but not too much.
Right, right. And Vin, do I remember right? Your first Kiss show was the Asylum tour, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm so jealous you both were
I
at that Dynasty tour.
know. Yes. Yep.
I
Yeah.
wish I could have seen even like the time when they played in 77 in the Garden. I remember
Yes.
being a kid and reading about it in the Daily News and
Hmm.
like wanting to go, but I just, for whatever reason, I didn't end up going.
Yeah.
My mother was supposed to take me in 79, which would have been, no offense to my mom,
Hmm.
but it would have been awful. And
Yeah.
my brother ended up taking me and he was not a fan.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but anyway, I
Were you
digress.
fortunate to see them at the Palladium for Eric Carr's first show?
No, I could
No,
have
me
went to
neither.
that
Oh,
actually
you could
too. And
have.
our friend then Matt Milbauer went, and I was very friendly with Matt and his brother Richie, and they went that night. And for whatever reason, I don't remember why I didn't go. I didn't go, and I could kick
Wow.
myself in the ass for not going. But
Oh
yeah, I
man.
wish, man, that would have been so cool.
Right. Well, I ask you because I'm only a couple of years younger than you. We're pretty much the same age. And I knew about that show and I wanted to go to it. And my parents tried to get me tickets. And as you know, and as Kiss fans know, the place was not the biggest, right?
No,
And it sold out. And I remember my dad coming home and telling me, look, we tried to get you tickets, but it sold out. And I was 9, almost 10 years old, and just started
wow.
bawling my eyes out. And I always look back on that show. I'm like, damn, that would have been my one and
That
only
would have been
time to
so
see Eric
cool.
Carr in makeup.
Yeah,
It's
man.
just so yeah. But all right. So then that's a little bit of your background. Now let's kind of fast forward to today or 4 years ago, I guess maybe, right? So you and Vin decide to come together and do the Hooligans project, right? So whose idea is this first? Al, do you approach Vin? Does Vin
Yeah,
approach
what
you?
happened was it was right around, COVID was going on. And again, our mutual friend, Matt Milbauer, I hadn't talked to Matt in years. And, it was COVID. So for whatever reason, I was just, you know, looking for people to reach out to that I haven't spoken to in a while. And Matt and I were in an original band back in the late 80s called Nocturnal Pleasure. Great name. Um, and I just figured let me reach out because I had said, I was singing in bands since like the 80s, say the early 80s, and then I got out of it in the 90s and then got back into it and was in and out. But I figured, we had written some songs over the years, and I said, let's maybe go back and revisit that and do this and do, we had recorded some of the songs and they didn't come out good years ago. And I said, let's revisit this and do this again. So I reached out to Matt, and Matt actually said, hey, before we do that, why don't we do like a couple of Kiss songs? Because again, Matt's another Kiss
Mhm.
fan. And I said, man, that's a great idea. I said, yeah, we'll do 2 or 3 Kiss songs and go from there. And then Matt had said, I've got my friend Vin, and he's a great musician, and he's got a studio, and I was like, cool. And he put me in touch with Vin, and Vin and I pretty much clicked right away. And then we started the
So you
process.
guys didn't know each other before that
Not at
point?
all.
Wow.
No.
Interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
And just, from the very first phone call, like I said, I clicked. I think we both clicked and ultimately became really good friends and
Mhm.
shared the common bond with the Kiss music and the passion for Kiss and all the other music that we like. So it was great right from the very beginning.
It's amazing to me through the years. I've gone on so many different Kiss cruises, but just how many stories you hear about people coming together through Kiss and through music.
It's
It's
so
just, to
cool.
me, it's friggin' incredible. And that's why I wanted to just make sure I understood properly. Now, here it is, the two of you don't know each other. You're both in your near 50 or in your 50s, right? And it's Kiss music that brings you guys together, even though you're both in New York, right? You're both New Yorkers, right? And
Right.
but it's the Kiss music that brings you guys together after 5 decades. So I heard you say though, Al, that hey, we were going to do 2 or 3 songs, and obviously this turned into something so much
I
more
think,
than
Vin, what
that.
was the final total? I think we did 22, and when it was all
Yeah,
said and done.
yeah. I mean, well, we'll go into a little bit of the detail of what happened, and even on my side of the fence, which was purely, you know, accidental in a ways,
Mhm.
which led me to doing the Kiss Unmasked thing and that whole thing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, upwards the Kiss, the Hooligans project is going to be 26 songs. It's 13 for the first release, 13 for the second release.
Even
So
Yeah.
more. Wow.
Yeah.
it's 26 songs total.
So now, when you guys first got together and it was going to be 2 or 3 songs, which songs were you thinking of doing at that point? And
I
did they
think at
make the final cut?
Well,
that point, go ahead, Vin. No, go
yeah,
ahead.
no. Well, first of all, let me just preface this.
Yeah.
So when I probably got an inkling that this was going to happen, when Matt called me, say, "Hey, listen, my friend Al's going to call you. Blah blah blah. He's looking to record the stuff." And I said, "Oh, cool. That sounds great, right?" He goes, "Yeah, he's going to pay you studio time." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then, when we start talking, and I, like Al said, we hit it off right away. I said to myself for a second, so wait a second, I'm going to be in my own house with my own snacks and beverages.
And
And
anybody who watches the show
right,
knows you love your snacks and beverages.
yes, and somebody's going to come to my house and potentially pay me to record Kiss music. I'm like, this is like the dream. You know what I mean? This is like the ultimate dream. And so we worked out a deal, between Al and I, and it's almost like I gotta be honest. A lot of times when Al would pay me, I'd feel guilty because I would have so much fun. I was just like, wait, should I be getting paid? But then I'm thinking, and you've been, Mike, always been saying, like, you got to get yourself out there, your skills, and you could do work for people. And I was like, man, I'm always like my own worst enemy.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
like, I don't promote myself, whatever. But yeah, it was really, really, it was an unbelievable sort of, feeling to feel like this, reward of recording Kiss music. And yeah, there's always, look, people in life, they if you could get some financial recoup for what you're doing, it really, but it was just that much sweeter. It was more sweeter, not the money is what I want to say. It was the fact that I saw how passionate Al was, and the fact that we were doing something that I felt like at that time I was just like, oh, he just wanted a couple of 2 or 3 songs, like bucket list kind of things. We
And
had
then
no
these were
idea it
going
was
to
going to
be
be.
just for Al's pleasure and like to
Yeah,
Al
right.
That's
play
all
for
it was.
friends and
Right.
family, right?
Yeah.
He never said like we're going to do this. I want to put out a record,
Nope.
So Al, maybe you remember what the first couple of songs were.
I do.
I don't.
I remember because even like I was so, I hadn't been singing really a lot at that point. And I said to Matt, this is, I'm just gonna like play the song in the background and I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna send it to you. If it sucks, tell me that it does, and then we'll stop right here. He's like, no, it sounded good. And I even think I might have even sent it to Vin, but definitely the first songs were Strutter, Got to Choose, which is an albatross around my neck. You'll notice is not on the first release, but that's a story for another day, maybe. And I don't remember the third song off the top of my head, but I know those were definitely the first two.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the third.
Well, certainly, like you said, the first one, Strutter, made the cut onto Volume 1, or it's the lead off track on the right. So, all right. So now, how do you guys go about? So you start off with 2 or 3 songs, and you end up with 26. Talk us through that. Like, how do you decide?
Well,
oh, let's do this one. Now let's add this one.
Al could chime in, but this is how it would work. So we would start working on a song, and and the thing was, because I have the studio and because I have some ability, we would talk about the song start. I say, okay, I could play the drums on that. Yeah, I could do the bass, or Matt did it, or whoever. And then it was like, okay, the guitar solo. All right, that's above my skill set right now. Who do I know? So then we started branching out, and we should, start early. We'll talk about Mike Brunn, who's been on your show,
Yep.
and he did a vast majority of the solos on both releases. And so that we would try to get a team of players if I needed something else. But for the most part, and yes, for once, I'm gonna pat myself on the shoulder, because I never do this. For the most part, all the rhythm tracks on the record are all me. Drums, bass, rhythm guitars, backing vocals certainly, and I did do lead guitar on a couple, especially I think on the first one I did a couple, which we can go into. But so Al, we would start the recording, then Al would come back. We would listen. He would do maybe some overdubs, or and then he'd go like this to me. What do you think about Hard Luck Woman? He was enjoying it so much.
Absolutely.
And
so
I
much
think
fun.
what he started doing was just starting to think, because we were having such a good time with it and we're getting along. And that's, more than half the battles, getting along with somebody in the studio. And then we'd go to lunch, and, then that's what he said. I never expected, I just thought this was going to be a guy to come down a bunch of times. I didn't think it was going to flourish into this great friendship that we have. And again, that's what Kiss music does, for so many fans, like you say. But that's the way it basically went. We would usually be continue to work on a song, and he would think of something else.
Right.
And then
exactly.
on my side of that, like with Dr. Love or Christine 16, I just, for whatever reason, because I was in the mode of like excited about doing this, I just decided one day, well, he's doing Paul Stanley. Let me try doing a Gene thing. It's not even something other than singing Rock and Roll Night, which most every cover band does. I never really tried doing the Gene thing. And I was just like, you know what, this sounds pretty good.
So this is before you were doing the Unmasked.
Right. So I did that. And then, as you've, I think, mentioned on the show before, the Kiss Unmasked thing sort of came about. And that Dr. Love became like my resume song, and it was already done. You need my love, baby, I'm so bad. You're not the only one I've ever had. But it wasn't done for that.
Right.
But it kind of helped me get into the band. So it was like almost like perfect timing. I'm working on this great project recording Kiss music, and then I get into a Kiss cover band, not a tribute band, Kiss cover band, doing all this Gene stuff. So it was just like, I used to tell you, it's like, wait, I'm going and I'm playing Kiss music and they're going to pay me to do this? It was just like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was just like an awesome thing. So,
right. So it's so cool to hear that. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's so cool to hear that. I mean, just to think from some crazy idea that a couple of guys had, it turns into something great for Vin, and just stepping back a little bit, I just want to say that, coming into this, again, I had not really been singing for a while. I mean, I used to sing in bands years ago, and decent bands back in the 80s and 90s. But I was really way out of it. And I was very nervous coming in. And Vin, just from the producer point, part of it, made me so much at ease just by joking around. And I would get upset and I'd start cursing and this, and he would be like, well, I'm out.
Don't worry, I have outtakes. I'm going to release those.
I feel
uptight. I'm saying, fuck.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time I said that, I'd be a millionaire. But just that. And then I remember initially, like before we even got together, I went on and I listened to Vin's album that he had done. And I was blown away just by, knowing that he did pretty much a lot of the instruments, just his versatility, how great of a vocalist he was. And like, wow, this guy's good. And he's working with me. Like, and then when I heard Dr. Love, I was completely blown away. And then when, he came up, hey, why don't we like bring this thing together? Again, it was like, wow, this guy's phenomenal. This guy's just great. and he's kind of like letting me into this mix. This is awesome, you know. But yeah, Vin could not have been. It's just been a pleasure from the get-go to work with him, the help that he's given me, the things that I learned from him, and just being able to watch a great musician do his thing. It's been nothing but a great pleasure for me to be involved with this.
Well, we'll tap him on the back a little bit more in a moment here. But
Mm.
to me, one of the things I find amazing is that you said how you hadn't been singing for a handful of years, a number of years, whatever. And then you jump in and you're singing Paul Stanley songs, which
Mm.
to me is not, Paul doesn't get the credit he deserves to me as a
I agree.
vocalist.
Yeah.
And some of these songs are not easy to sing. And look, I've seen plenty of Kiss tribute bands and cover bands, and they usually have a good Ace and a good Peter and a good Gene. And the Paul is more times than not, it's like, oh no, that's not good. But I've heard these songs. I listened to them again today, and you really do a great job on those Paul songs. So were you nervous
Thank you,
having not sang for however many years?
Absolutely,
And
I was.
then you're tackling Stanley songs.
Yeah, absolutely, I was. I was very nervous, but yeah, I mean, but the more I did it, and like Vin would push me a little bit, where I would, normally not go to places that, I would say, no, I can't do that, or I won't even try to do that because I don't think I could do that.
Mm.
And then he'd push me and I'd be able to do it. And I'd be like, wow, that's cool. I never thought I could do that.
Mm.
So little by little, yeah, the confidence started to build. And then it was like, okay, let's try that song. I think maybe I could do that song. And I'd go home and try it and be like, okay. And little by little, yeah, things just started to build and get better. And my confidence grew.
Mhm.
And just we got comfortable. And it was just, yeah, it really turned out to be a great thing.
Yeah.
And it should also be noted that, not to get into personal stuff, but Al was also struggling with some throat issues, and throughout this whole
Wow.
thing,
Yeah.
that he's had some surgeries and he's
Yep.
done certain things, and he would come down and really, might not be one of his best days because he's just not in his best condition because of an ailment. But truth be told, I would never let him just quit that day. There was never
Right.
once. He's
Nope.
driving from Pennsylvania to my house.
Oh,
That
wow.
should be mentioned, and so he's making the drive, and I was not going to let him go home defeated. And he mentions "Got to Choose" as like his his albatross. But let's say I think there's a total of 26 songs. I think 14 of were Paul songs, and out of the 14 he recorded and approved 13. So the fact there's only one. I mean, let's give him a break.
And I'm still not done with that yet, man.
I love it. I love
even
that.
try.
Exactly. He's going to be here in an hour and a half after this is done,
Right.
and it's going to
Start
be
working
As
on
soon as I get
volume
off this,
three.
I'm going to go right outside
But-
and start singing it. My wife's going to love it.
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
But it's important to note that because we know that Kiss fans are ravenous and very critical, that we were not going to do something where we didn't feel 1,000% that this was a good version of something. And I've heard other compilations of bands that do this, and it's not to put down anything, but I always felt like they didn't really capture, like, this is a thing that could go either way. I was really trying to set out to make, if I heard the delay on something a certain way, I really wanted the delay to be like that on the vocal or on the guitar. And I'm not saying I got it 100%, but some of the things like even Mike, who played guitar, it's like, you really did a great job capturing the vibe or the sound of the maybe
Absolutely.
Rock and Roll Over album, or even, you're recording Detroit Rock City, Bob Ezrin. I don't have a multi-million-dollar studio.
Right.
And then we're doing, Tears of Falling, which is like a mid-80s, big drums. And I'm like, how do I capture the sound, out of the same studio? I'm not going to Vancouver, then going to LA. And then, this is all in the same room. But we really wanted, I'm not, Gene Simmons, I'm not Ace Frehley. He's not Ace Frehley. I mean, these are all the vocalists.
Wait, you're not? All right, show over. Sorry, I thought I had Gene Simmons on with me.
But to be fair, Al did all these Paul Stanley songs, but he also did, Peter Criss,
Like what I
and
was
he
gonna
also
say next,
did,
yep.
and he also did Ace Frehley. So, it's really hard. It's not easy to cover all that, but we really wanted it to be, a really an authentic is the best way, versions to the very detail of it.
Yep,
We
yep.
didn't want to really kind of do our own versions of anything.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I often do that. Like every so often, I'll go on YouTube and I'll try to search out all the Kiss cover albums, songs, and a lot of them, and I get it to a degree. They want to put a different spin on it, but for me, that doesn't do it. I want to hear something that's, faithful to the original version. That's what I think I wanted to do, and we both wanted to do when we were doing this. We set out at some point to say, yeah, we want to make this sound close. I mean, not identical, of course, but close to the original vibe of it all. And I think we really captured that.
That's one of the things. Well, sorry, Vin. I'll just say this. One of the things I wrote down to Al's point, to use your word back at you, Vin. When I was listening to it again today, I said, "Man, this sounds so authentic." It's the exact thing I wrote down, and just so close to the originals. I was even wondering, like, did you get the tempos from the original recording to make sure you kept the proper tempos on these? Like it just like there was a couple of times that I was listening to while I was running this morning, and I'm like, you know what? For a moment, as I'm running, I'm forgetting that I'm listening to a cover. I actually had to remind myself, wait, this is not the original. And I don't say that because you're my friend and because the two of you are on the show here. I said it because I swear in my own life, I had to remind myself at one moment, wait, this is a cover. This is not the original. That's how authentic it sounded. So
thank you, Mike. That's a great compliment, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And just so that I think people can maybe appreciate what we do, what I do, because yes, I'm going to try to promote my whatever it is, my ability, because if anybody's ever interested in doing anything, I would people do things remote, but on certain songs, yes, every song I looked at the tempo and always did it mostly to a click track to whatever the tempo that was. Certain songs I actually played to the original song. Okay. Most often not, I didn't. How I would record a song, any song, is I'd set the tempo and I start on the drums and play the whole song on the drums with nobody. There was no guitar player playing the rhythm guitar or Al singing with me. It was all in my head. Okay. And so I've done this for many years. And since I know these songs pretty well, some songs I struggled more so, like on A Save Your Love, which I wasn't as intimate with, there's that whole part at the end, So on those particular songs, I needed a little bit more work, but that's how I would do it. I would record the drums, then go and record the bass and guitars, and then Al would come in and or maybe the same day. I think Al, there was some times.
Yeah, there were many times where I would sit there in the drum room and it was so cool. I loved that. Just sitting there watching him build the song from the very beginning. It was just so cool to watch that happen.
That is awesome.
And the other things I would do is if I heard a particular sound, like say rock and roll, I had a particular guitar tone, I would try to match that or try to find the sound that was close. Or
well, you do have just a couple of guitars to choose from, right?
1, 2, 3,
40, 45, 50, 55.
Yeah.
Oh man!
By the way, I live in Wisconsin now, so if anybody's going to want to rob my abode,
that's it. Well, Vin, you were talking about the drums in "Save Your Love." So to me, that's one of the things listening to this, and you mentioned how you played the drums, the rhythm guitars, the bass. But to me, as a drummer, which you are, how is it to capture the "Save Your Love" vibe, which is Anton Fig, compared to, let's just say, Calling Dr. Love, which is again one of the things I'm listening to it, and you got that hi-hat thing going on in Dr. Love. Perfect. I mean, and to me, that's part of the whole swing and essence of that song is getting that hi-hat feel. And I'm not a drummer, so please correct my terminology, but to me, that's important to that song, right? So what was it like trying to capture those different, and then you have Eric Carr doing Tears Have Fallen, right? So you got 3 different drums you're trying to emulate. What was that like?
It was a little intimidating, I got to be honest. I mean, especially the Anton Fig, not on the first one we have Save Your Love. On the second one, just I'll give it away a little bit, give it away, rip it out. So there's that whole middle section.
Yep.
I'm not Anton Fig, but I did my best versions of all these things. But I know again that Anton Fig is one of my idols, a great drummer. And people know these fills, they know these things, so you're not going to get away with it, Right. And it was a little intimidating. Even the Peter Criss stuff, Detroit Rock City, you remember how I first played it when we played in the band together, so he's heard my first, the first, time I played this up. But yeah, it was definitely, the thing I will say is like, Kiss does not get the kind of credit they should as songwriters and as musicians. Agreed. Learning these parts, even some of the rhythm tracks, I had to really, Mr. Speed was a tricky song, that whole to the point where 2 weeks before the release, I'm like, now this is unacceptable. I have to do this over. There was yet another delay, and I remember telling you both about this. I have to do this. I cannot. And I had to really shred on it. I had to practice it because and it was challenging. It was really challenging.
No, I'm glad you're bringing that up because it's one of the things, sorry, that I was mentioning Al doing the Stanley vocals before, and what a challenge. And I don't think Kiss gets the credit as musicians that they deserve. And whether it's Gene's bass playing, which I think is criminally underrated, even Peter as a drummer, I think is really criminally underrated. So I'm glad to hear you talk about the musicianship on these songs, because of course people talk about Bruce Kulick being a great guitar player and Eric Carr, but I think that original era of the band, that musicianship is often overlooked, which is
it's true, Mike, what you say, and people just automatically just hear Kiss and dismiss it. Because a friend of mine who's a musician, I had let him hear it, and I told him, it's a Kiss cover project essentially, and he's like, rolling his eyes, and then I put it on, and he's like, "Really, this is Kiss?" I was like, "Yeah, it's Kiss.
Exactly.
These are good songs." I was like, "Yeah, obviously, just give it a chance, give it a listen, don't dismiss it."
Yeah. Well said. Absolutely well said.
And one of my favorite things in working on this project with Al, because you're like kids again, you know what I mean? And we would do whatever he would record his I always wait for his vocal track. And then I would start laying down the harmonies, and then just see him light up when he would start hearing his voice with mine. And cool. All credit, he did the lead vocal on these things. And then I was like, all right, now we'll layer another one. And then something on Shout It Out Loud. When you hear that chorus, I mean, even I just got a chill just thinking about it. I put it on. I'm like, that's us. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just like, I just think that's one of the standout tracks on, I think they're all awesome, but that's one.
I swear you're looking at my notes that I took beforehand, because I said, make sure you talk about the background vocals on Shout It Out Loud. So it's one of the things. The second song, I was like, wow, holy crap. This is really great.
To the point of in Shout It Out Loud, fans know, you really listen close, there's a tambourine in there, that goes throughout. I put the tambourine in the, shout it out loud, doom, 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 doom. I put the piano in. There's a clap. There's a clap in there. I mean, that's what we really wanted to achieve. It's just it's just, I'm so happy.
And then it amazes me. So then I have to ask you this when we're talking about the background vocals. Did you guys do the background vocals on Calling Dr. Love?
No, Vin, you did them all, right?
I did them all.
You did them all, Vin? Yourself. Because it's like, it sounds like 4 or 5 different voices in there. One, no offense, one sounds like a female. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, that's... Well, that's what I was trying to achieve. I mean, it does sound, I don't know if there's female on that, I know on something like, I believe, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, on Love Gun, I think there's a female backing vocal on there. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure. And that's going to be that'll be on the second release. But I mean, those are type of things where, if there was something that sounded like a female, what I perceive, or a falsetto.
Right.
Yeah, that was definitely I tried to achieve that.
Yeah. No, and Vin was so great at doing all those high parts throughout the process on so many of the songs. He nailed it. I mean, he nailed it in every way. I mean, the drum, like you talk about, just the variation of the drum styles that he had to get. And then he picks up the bass and does the, right to the T. Then he picks up a guitar and he's playing. It's just amazing to watch. Again, much credit to the talent of Vin.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was fun being able to do those things. Even a song like, I'm going to be promoting this album, Hard Luck Woman, with a 12-string guitar. That's like the only song that has that, that infamous, intro. It was so much fun and exciting to do all those different parts,
So Vin, you've been rightly so very complimentary to Al and all the vocals he did, the Paul songs, which is just incredible. You have a couple of Peter songs on here as well that on this release that you did, Al. But Vin, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the fact that obviously you're doing the Gene songs. Yeah. You did an Ace song.
Yeah.
But you also did Tears Are Falling. So that had to be stressful, because again, just going back to that Paul vocal again, I can't imagine Paul 80s. That could not have been an easy song to sing.
No, it wasn't. And, and I will say there was many attempts on that. Okay. Again, most of the many attempts were because it's Paul 80s, mid 80s in his prime. And it's like that big 80s sound, and it's got all these different things in there. But yeah, I was very much intimidated by that. But there are reasons why I felt it was a good idea to have that track on the release. Mike Brunn, who played, and again, let's give Mike tons of credit. I mean,
absolutely,
his soloing. I mean, he would send me usually whatever the song was, like 7 different takes, which I loved and I hate. I'm like, fuck, now I gotta pick one. Just give me the one that's the best. I don't even have to think about it. God bless Mike. He would give me a lot of variations, and some he would give me a rhythm track. I think on Tears Are Falling, his rhythm tracks with mine. As a matter of fact, when it starts, you hear dum dum, and you hear wee. That's really not in the original, but of the original version. Correct me if I'm wrong. I
thought it was, but
maybe it is. But whatever. I just thought it sounded so cool. I left it in there.
Okay.
But yeah, it would, and I would just hear the track and be like, he fucking nailed it. A firehouse. I mean, All American Man, his solo on that is just good. Like, again, All American. Again, one of the, and Al and I would listen to like an All American Man, and he would go, I wish we could bring everybody in your studio and hear it in here.
Right.
Like I need everybody in here because I have the monitors and we were just
so awesome.
Yeah, and it just his solo on everything is so spot on. And again, he had to do, Ace Frehley, Bruce Kulick, and Bob Kulick.
True.
So I mean, he had the same thing like me. He had to cover, different styles, 3 different totally different guitar players.
And he nails those tones of each of those songs, each of those guitars.
He nailed it all. Yeah. Every single thing he did, he nailed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Al, for yourself, you started off saying that you wanted to do 2 or 3 songs. You end up with 2 full albums of material that you guys
and counting.
And counting, right. When you look back on, let's just talk what's going to be on volume 1. We'll talk about the track list in a moment, right? But when you look back at the songs on volume 1, are you like, damn, I'm really proud of this particular one. I wasn't sure that I could do this, and whether it's me pushing myself, Vin pushing myself, I'm really proud of this one.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of my favorites, All American Man, has been mentioned. I think came out great. I was a little afraid to do it, but it came out really good. I thought. I just love the vibe. It's it's cool. It's tough. It's street. It hits. Yeah. And Mr. Speed, again, another one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs.
Which I got to get credit him, because that's a song that's been off my radar for years.
Yeah, really? Wow.
Yeah. And when he said Mr. Speed, I was like, really?
You need loving. You're looking at the new romances.
All right. I was like,
I'm with Al on this one. That's a freaking amazing song.
It is an amazing song.
Like, it's so much of it, coming from the live album, like the Alive and Firehouse. To me, I always liked the song, and then we did it, and I was like, damn, that was good.
And you love it, and think of it, till you lose all intuition. Come on.
Good. So right, just off the top of my head, those 3 songs come to mind, right? Again, not even knowing, don't have the track list in front of me, but yeah, I was very happy. I mean, I was happy with it all, but definitely those 3 are definitely at the top of my list.
So Vin, do you have the track list handy where you could read off the 13 songs that are going to be on this one?
I can do that. All right. So we're going to start, and we took a lot of care into doing the sequence. I approach this as like an album, side A, side B. So it starts off with Strutter, into Shout It Out Loud, Calling Dr. Love, Hard Luck Woman, Christine 16, Mr. Speed, Firehouse, Tears Have Fallen, Hooligan, All American Man, Love Her All I Can, Save Your Love, Detroit Rock City.
What I love about that track list is you've got your quote unquote bona fide classics, your Detroit Rock Cities, or your Strutters and things, all shout out louds. But then you've also got some of the deep cuts, the Save Your Loves, the Mr. Speeds, even All American Man, you can say is a deeper cut. Hooligan, that's true, yes.
Hooligan.
Yes, the
Love Her All
namesake
I
of the
Can.
band. Yeah. So was that important to you guys to kind of balance those out on a release?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know if that was the intent necessarily, but it just seemed like, here are the songs that we like.
Right.
And it seemed to balance out that way, that there were some little nuggets that people kind of forget about or don't realize, hey, I forgot about that song. That's a really cool song. So yeah, I don't think it was intentional, Vin, right?
No, it wasn't. So
kinda...
so he, like I said, Al would say, what do you think about, this is Speed or what? And I'd be like, all right, yeah, that's cool. We never sought out okay, this is what the release is. These are the type of songs. It's like you're going to make a soup. You throw all the ingredients in and then you see what you have in there, right? Was that all good or do we need to take something out? And so we had all of a sudden 26 songs and I looked at everything. And so we don't know we're not saying yet what release 2 is going to be, but I had to balance those 26 songs so that what you said is true for both, that each release has your classics. And so it's just like, these were the songs we had. How can we best put these songs together? We didn't really intentionally do it. It was like, it just came together very, organically. And a song like Save Your Love, like you said, I never would have chosen as on you, Mike Brunn, said to me, I think you should do this. And you could tell the story about how that went down.
I did. That was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. You were talking about doing these songs with Al. And I was like, oh, you should try to do Save Your Love. And you were first, I think, I'll paraphrase, but you were like, why? Why that song? I'm like, it's a really good overlooked song. It's got a great drum beat in it. It's I think one of Ace's better songs in my opinion. And
I think it's a great solo. It's one of my favorite solos that he does.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's an all-around great song. And I remember, Vin, the first time you tried it, you had texted me. I hadn't even heard it yet. You had texted me and you're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. And I was like, what do you mean? You're like, I don't know if I could pull off the vocal. I was like, oh, stop it. And so it's funny hearing Al talk about that before, how he felt in certain times he couldn't pull it off. And I'm thinking to myself, you did the same thing, Ben. You just, so sometimes we could all be our own worst enemies, I guess, right?
I could do Tears Are Falling, but I can't do Ace Frehley.
Yeah, Ben, it was so funny. I was just going to say that. Here's a guy saying that he can't sing Save Your Love, but he can't sing Tears Are Falling. Come on, man. Really stop.
Well, you know what it was? It was more, again, that I, was much more intimate with Tears Are Falling because I knew the song so much better than Save Your Love. It was another one of the songs that was, isn't it the last song on Dynasty?
Yep.
So it was just one of those things. I just wasn't as familiar. So that I was way out of my comfort zone in it. Right. But then he did the infamous Mike Brunn, stop being scared, man. I got the scared, man. You're being scared, man. I said, all right. And so I'm ecstatic that it's on there.
And I remember after complaining about the vocal, which I scratched my head about and still do, then you're like, oh, but I don't know about Anton's drumming in that is really, it's like, oh, stop it. Just send me another version of this when you're done. I want it next week, type of thing. And to me, it was absolutely great version.
Again, you nailed it, Vin. And just getting back to Tears Are Falling, man. I mean, that is, like you said, Mike, what a tough song to sing. And you did it so well, blown away by some of those, like Tears Are Falling. And it's probably not going to be on the first release, but Tomorrow that you did, amazing vocals you did.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I think it's amazing vocals all around. Well, and we spoke about the harmonies, and I love the fact that both of you guys tackle, like Al, you're tackling both Peter Criss songs and Paul Stanley songs. Vin, on this release, you got Gene songs, you got an Ace song, you got a Paul song. It just shows to me the versatility of you guys as singers, and then singing together and the harmonies that you guys do at times. Just to me, it's what makes this release really special, in my opinion.
Well, I don't want to make this a love fest all about me. Al, again, he would come to me saying, I'm thinking about doing whatever song. And just looking at the list, I mean, again, Paul Stanley, he would say that. And in my mind, I go, really? So this goes, not that and this when I first didn't know him, right. I don't know. But he, to his credit, he challenged himself And then when he kind of like, again, was like down on himself, I was not going to let that happen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
I have a
know?
tendency to do that. I will hit myself with a bat a few times. And Vin was like, no, we're not doing this. We don't do this
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
it really, and again,
And
I really got to places I didn't think I could get to because of him.
and again, this thing was really important to me. And when I work with somebody, is Al really wanted this to be good. Really, like, he did not settle. I can tell you how many listening parties him and I just had. It was a party or two, where we sat and listened so many times. And then we would still make an adjustment. And then he would come. All right, here's my list of things. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, on Hooligan,
On
I
this
want to do this
part,
over. And this
on the
one,
second word, on
what
the
do you
third
think?
verse.
Right. Like, what do you think about this? And then I'd listen to it, and I would, just say yes or no. I mean, some things I think were in his head, some things he was right about, and we all have that. As I could listen, even though this has been mastered, released, I could go back and find something now. Again, you got to get past it,
Well,
I mean,
Vin, I think I've shared this with you. I remember interviewing Brad Gillis 5-6 years ago, and he was talking about recording records. And he's like, one of the things I had to teach myself in my career is at some point to just let it go. He's like, because if I keep listening to something, I keep hearing, oh, I should change this, I should do this.
Absolutely.
At some point, you just have to put pencil down and say, that's it. This is what it's going to be.
Yep.
So if Brad Gillis could do that to himself, you guys could certainly do it as well.
Oh yeah. I don't know who did an interview recently. It might have been Billy Corgan, like in Daryl Hall or something like that. And he was like, I just can't listen to that vocal. And it was like a top 10 hit, or maybe not.
So good.
He's like, I just can't know, I just can't, he's still upset over it, even though it might have been a multi-million-dollar seller. But in his mind, he did not do a good performance on that. And I'm not saying it definitely was Daryl Hall, but it was something, because I watched so many of these things. But you're always going to find something.
And as you were talking about this, and you're sharing about how Al really nailed so many of these vocals, and Al, you were open about some of your worries about, having not sang for a while and all of that.
Yeah.
So to me, the biggest compliment is that here it is, the first song to lead off this project together, a Stanley song, Strutter, an all-time classic. Every Kiss fan knows that song back and forth. And that's the first song on the first side of the first release. And you friggin' nail it. That's because if that wasn't good, people would say, okay, shut off. I'm not even going to listen to the rest.
Yeah.
Right? So you need a strong lead track. And the fact that that's the song that starts it, which I love the fact that that's also one of the first songs you went to Vin and you said, I want to record this, so I love
think that was the first song that we recorded.
We did.
And we talked about, again, the album opener. That was our feeling, was it's the first song on the first Kiss album.
Yeah.
Boy, where else should we start? This is the natural place to start.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying what you said, Mike. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So
I know a thing or two about her.
So I'll put you guys on the spot, and Vin, maybe you as the one who's, I'll say, producing this, I'll put you on the spot. Over the years, there's so many Kiss cover albums, Kiss cover songs, right? We have the official things like Kiss My Ass. You have so many fan projects. Hell, you even have Ace Frehley recorded Rock and Roll Hell. And he covered that, even though he wasn't on it. What do you think sets your recordings apart from all these others?
Yes, can me?
Yeah, I said I'm putting you on the spot. But
Thanks, Mike.
I won't do that to you your first time on the show. Next time.
I appreciate that.
I think the best way to say this is that if you went to go see a Kiss cover band, right, or Kiss tribute band, and they did their own versions of the song, would you be happy seeing that live? No. What, again, we wanted to do was make this as most authentic as possible, try to be as close to the originals, as you said, with the tempos and the sounds and the production as best we could, and that's, I think, what I really tried to focus on. What was your question again?
So,
I think so, answer this right.
No, you did. I said, how do you think this sets
like
apart from some of the others? Right.
But you did answer the question.
I'm having a senior moment. What was the question?
Where are we
do
again?
I like Barry Manilow? What was he said?
We'll take that as an answer. We'll definitely take that as an answer. So look, that's one of the things I love about it also, is that just that, like I said before, that authentic feel. And it's each.
What makes it stand out.
Yes, there's not one song on here where I said, maybe they shouldn't have released that one, right? Every single one.
And it's funny because we three of us discussed this separately. there were on a couple of tracks where Al and I would do something a little funny that was like
Yeah.
between him and I, and we thought it was hilarious.
And
But
they
then
were.
and they were, and Al knows this. You listen to it and you'd be like, yeah, that's good, but I think maybe you should not put that in there because only you guys get this joke, and Kiss fans might be like, what the hell
the
is
siren.
this? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of Firehouse,
That's funny.
and Al, and I have the recording and I took it out. What'd you say, Al? He said,
I said, "Hey Vin, you want to turn off that fucking siren?"
yeah. And it was totally like I didn't know he was going to do that,
Impromptu, just
and you hear me
we
laughing in the
started
background.
laughing. It was great.
I thought it was like and everybody's like, put it back in. Why don't you have that in there? But there were things like that where we had little jokes of this and that in there, and we took them out, because again, I wanted to.
We did it. We didn't though. Some of it we didn't. Like,
Well, that's going to be the collector's edition.
Yeah.
But even I'm pretty sure I think it stayed on the version, an All-American Man. I'm a 6 foot hot look All-American Man. Again, the Paul Stanley overtly sexual, insane.
Yeah.
I'm 5 foot 8.5 in reality.
Yeah.
So I threw that into the end, 5 foot 8.5, whatever. It's kind of like a joke, a little levity, and I think it kind of works.
Well, it also the way that the song ends on that one, I felt like it was appropriate, and I didn't feel like that was out of bounds. He was kind of doing he's singing the song. He's not Paul Stanley, so I thought that was kind of.
And
cool.
again, I figured just the spur of the moment, throw it in. I was like, oh, that was cool. That sounds it's cool.
It is. No, it is. It absolutely
Until all
is.
the people like online will be attacking me and saying, you asshole. But
we're always going to get those.
So I said that to Vin when I started this show. You knew that there was going to be certain people. I've heard people criticize my laugh. I've heard people criticize the questions I asked.
You're going.
Really?
Yeah. I've had that. Somebody once sent me a screenshot of people talking about my laugh. Okay, yeah, fine. If that's what you guys want to talk about, go right ahead. I don't care. You're always going to get that. It's one of the things I tell Vin when he releases stuff. You just have to have thick skin to, some people are, no matter how good it is, and this is real damn good, some people are just going to have something to say.
I got to be honest, and I don't know if you can answer this question, but I'm going to save you from asking the question. One of the hardest things to do with this project was come up with a name for it, and so we went through a whole bunch of things.
Oh, yeah.
He's laughing. So one of the things was, there's a song "Sweet Pain," right? So we were on. I don't know. We were on this. I was on this different strokes. Do you remember that 70s sweet and so Conrad Bain. So he's like, why don't we call Sweet Bain? And we thought, and for a while it was actually Sweet Bain, and then. And then on one of the songs, I think it said Mrs. Speed, is it? He goes,
no, it's on Take Me.
Oh, it's on Take Me?
Yeah, instead of saying in one of the choruses, instead of saying Take Me, we say Bane Me. Just a little stupid thing.
No, it was Mr. Drummond's Getting Down. Right. You said Mr. Drummond's Getting Down.
But that's on the other version of Hooligan. Yeah. All kinds of little stupid things that nobody will get, but
right. So the fact was we were trying to come up with names, and I don't know if it was Al or me, I don't remember, but I think it was me who I started thinking like, all right, and let me also give credit to Paul Poulos, lead guitar, Matt Milbauer, who did backing vocals and bass, Joe Bianchi, who also did backing vocals on a couple of tracks. So I started thinking, wait, it's me and Al, Mike, Paul, Matt, Joe, it's like a bunch of hooligans who came together to record. It was almost like a perfect name. And Al, did you come up with Roll Over and Rock?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just switched. We were trying to decide what the hell we're going to call this.
Yeah.
And then I just figured, let's jumble the title around, and there it was.
Yeah.
Which I love, because obviously if you're a Kiss fan, you know what the reference there is, but it's still a little bit different. Although, I mean, I love the artwork that you guys have for this.
That came out awesome.
Yeah, really just like.
And Vin, who did that? Who did the artwork?
Oh, I should give credit to Paul DeNovo, my longtime collaborator in music and in art, who's done pretty much every logo for every band I've ever been in. And it should be stated that even though this is the black and white version that's on Al's background, it's actually in color.
That's right. And you are going to have the color background, except with all your IT skills, you can get it sized. Al was
Shame
able to
on
do it
me.
no
With
problem.
my
but
limited IT
Yeah,
skills, I got
exactly.
this done. But
But
Terrible.
Vin with his IT skills, but I'll not let him live that one down. So,
Yeah, I know. What's he gonna do?
yeah. So the first volume has been released. Where could people find this if they want to hear
Oh,
all this?
I had to be prepared with that before I actually.
Yes.
Okay, so just to give some outlets right now, it's going to be available at Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio. Is there still a thing? Napster? I guess it still exists.
Wow.
Tidal, Grace Note, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that are like in other countries. But truth be told, it's about, I think, 26 different streaming services, and also on your social media platforms like Facebook and stuff like that, supposedly.
Okay.
We are looking to get it also on Apple Music and iTunes. And so that should be coming shortly also. But since Spotify is I think, arguably the most popular, pretty much everybody knows what Spotify is, or Amazon Music, or YouTube. It's all going to be on all these different. So if you have a computer or phone or Commodore 64, you'll definitely be able to, maybe not the Commodore 64, you'll definitely be able to get it, and it'll all be for free.
Not many things are for free in 2025.
No, that is true. That is true.
Now, will there ultimately be a physical product also? Because some people are going to ask, right? So will there be a physical product?
Al insists on it.
yes.
I knew I like this guy.
I just like having something,
Yes.
It's great to have streaming and access it, but I still, again, harken back to the days of albums, and, at least with a CD, we can open it, you have something you could physically, hold on to, and probably at the end of the day, the sound quality is probably better anyway.
And that being said, people who watch this, comment if you want to see that product, because we don't know how many to even order of these things.
Right.
And it should be also mentioned, you got to give, now listen, this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the songwriters and the artists who recorded them, obviously. And for the majority of these songs, it's Gene and Paul, with obviously Bob Ezrin and Sean Delaney, Ace Frehley, of course, Peter Criss. But for physical product, it should be noted that you need to get actual licensing for that stuff. So when we put out the physical product, we actually have to license, and it should be that way, where you're selling something. Don't let me get on my, my bandwagon of streaming and how, and artists have spoken up about how they basically don't get paid, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, they're definitely, we're going to do this, is, legit, and make sure that everything is done in the right way.
Is there anything else either one of you want to bring up about the whole recording process, or anything about just the CD, or I'll say the release itself, that you guys want to make sure people know?
Al, you go first, because mine's going to take about an hour. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I want to thank Vin first and foremost. And going all the way back, I want to thank my friend Matt, our friend Matt, for putting the idea in my head, and being a part of it. And Vin, thank you so much for being there for me, for helping me, for guiding me, for having fun. I thank you for your friendship. It's been a blast, man. And to think that this crazy little project that we did, people are like, just blew my mind that, 1,200 people on Facebook would listen to it. Just the fact that other Kiss fans are going to listen to this, who I'll also thank. Thank you for giving us a shot, giving us a listen, like it or not, give it a chance. Maybe you'll like it. We worked hard, and I think it really came out well. And like Vin had said, thank you, Kiss. Thank you to Kiss. Gene, Paul, Peter, Ace, and everybody else that followed. You guys obviously had an impact on our lives that continues to today. So that says something. And it was a blast doing it. And Mike, thank you for letting us do this. I really appreciate it. It's been fun. And I hope to do it again. And hopefully we'll even get to a volume 3 one day.
It'd be awesome.
I don't think I have to say anything. I think Al said.
I was just going to say, Vin, if you say anything else after that, then you're just ruining the end of the show.
Yeah. No, I'll make mine short and sweet. I want to thank. We'll start with people who actually private messaged me on Facebook saying, "When is this coming out?" I can't say how many people did that, which was an awesome feeling. That people were actually anticipating this coming out. And of course, if it wasn't for Al, and I don't know if I would be in Kiss Unmasked right now. maybe it would have happened, but all I know is what happened. I recorded Dr. Love because Al came down and wanted to do this. I know for a fact I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
So history says I recorded that song because Al wanted to work on this project. And I'm in a wonderful situation with that band. Love those guys. And so thank you, Al, for planting that seed and having this blossom. The other thing I want to mention too is that we are planning, I can't say when, but we would love to do a live version and get together. I have people who are already on board. I'm even thinking maybe, getting the Unmasked guys and us to make it like a real Kiss event, And I know Al has had this dream of going on a stage and doing these songs live and getting Mike Brunn, who said he'd be on board. Mike's already, I sent him, pre-release the tracks, like, all right, when in volume 3, what else you want to work on? So I already throw a couple like little like, ideas to him, like of what I'm thinking of recording already. And I'm sure Al has some ideas.
Anything for my baby. That's first.
There you go. And it's funny that you say that, because the other night we did the whole Just to Kill album with Kiss Unmasked, and I was like, and people like, I can't believe you did anything for my baby. It's such an underrated song. And I'm like, yeah, I love that song. And so yeah, I want to thank everybody who was involved, everybody's enthusiasm, Mike, you pushing me and listening to these tracks and giving me feedback, and even on something like Tears of Fallen, we talked about that. I would send it to you as almost like final approver. I was like, is this good enough? And don't just bullshit me. You know what I mean?
Which I didn't, right? There were times I was like, nah, that's not.
You could do better. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Mike, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have gotten done too. And so thank him. And as Al said, thank Gene and Paul, Ace and Peter, and everybody who followed, because if it wasn't for those guys, my life has just been that much. I'm gonna get emotional. Here we go. Here it comes. It's just, my life has just become so enriched by this band that people can't even understand what's here. So awesome. That's it. That wasn't stage. This wasn't acting 101.
No, okay? He might be a good musician, but he's not a good actor.
Although I did say I had a top Al, so let me stop crying.
I'll just say this, Vin and Al. I'm glad you finally released Volume 1, so I can stop asking you, when is it going to be released? When is it going to be released? So thank you for finally getting it out.
Another summer doesn't have to come and go.
That's right. Well, Al, what I used to do to him sometimes at the end of a podcast episode we're recording, and I would put it out there. I was like, so before we wrap up this episode, when's the new Kiss thing going to come out that you guys are working on? Because I'd always try to put him on the spot for it. So, but you know what? I think to me, the biggest thing is that you guys, and one of you said this earlier, you wanted to take your time and get it right. And really, like Vin, I think you were saying that Al would come over and I want to change this one word here and I want to change that, right? And to me, it shows when you listen to it that it's a labor of love. And it's not something that you guys just said, we could get these songs thrown together in an hour and Kiss fans will like it. No, it's a labor of love, and it really shines through in the recordings. And to me, that's why it's if not the best, it's certainly one of the best Kiss cover albums I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
So
thank you.
Well, maybe when Volume 2 is ready to come out, we'll do this again and we can talk about some of those songs. You can dripped out a few here and there in this one, but there's plenty more to talk about. But guys, I just want to congratulate you on a job extremely well done. And
thank you.
I look forward to seeing all the comments. I'm sure you guys do as well. And one more time, I guess, Vin, everybody who wants to stream it, they can find it pretty much most places you stream music.
I think everything but Apple Music and iTunes right now. So, but again, we're working on that.
Very good.
And one last thing, we're hoping and we're looking to release Volume 2 for the Christmas holiday.
There you go. Very nice.
And Mike, just one more thing. I just I didn't mention, I just again want to thank Mike Brunn, Paul Poole hosts, Joe's last name again,
Bianchi.
Joe Bianchi, and everybody that contributed.
You got to say your friend Matt. Come on.
I said Matt.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, and again, Matt, and just anybody who contributed and helped along the way, and even you, Mike, for giving us input along the way, really helped, and it was really much appreciated. So thank everybody.
No, and I appreciate that. And I'll just say this, Vin, I know even for volume 2, you have a few other special guests up your sleeve as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm sure you'll thank those guys in due time.
Yes.
So, just so that they
Absolutely.
don't feel like they're being neglected, because I know who some of
course.
these people are. So
Yes.
well, I look forward to seeing and reading the comments. I'm excited to see it because I think people are going to really love it. But to everybody watching the show, if you're watching on YouTube, right below in the description, I'll put a link to some of the spots where you could stream this. This way, you can, nice and easy. Hopefully, you didn't spend your last hour listening to this. You said, "Screw this! I'm done listening to these guys talking. Let me go listen to that CD right now." Right?
Yeah.
Come back and watch afterwards. But it's really if you love Kiss, I can't imagine anybody not loving these versions of these songs. They're really great. So, job well done, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Until that, I guess that's a wrap for this episode. Peace out, everybody. Alrighty. There you have it. Go check out the Hooligans covering Kiss classics and deep cuts everywhere that you stream music. Let the guys know what your favorite Kiss cover is that they did. The guys look forward to seeing and reading all of your opinions and comments. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I've included in the description below links to some of the streaming services. Go check it out. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and X as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.